Hello everyone on YouTube, welcome back. This is Jordan here bringing you another video, and today we're talking about floppy disks, particularly the USB floppy emulator, and why I think the PSR 8000 will not benefit from it. Number 1. You want to know that the disk is being read. This is easy with floppy disks, especially for someone like me, because the floppy disk drive on this keyboard makes various noises related to how it's processing data. Here's an example of a sound the floppy disk would make. This is the sound the disk drive would make when it recognizes the disk and it's ready for use. So I'll turn the keyboard on. Hopefully if you listen carefully you can hear the drive. When it makes that noise, you know that it has read the disk. If you only hear a buzzing sound without hearing those clicks, then it has failed to read the data on the disk or it is not recognized. Number 2. The PSR 8000 can only load styles with 2 variations on them. So you can't load, say, styles from the PSR 740 on them without splitting the style without removing the other variations that you don't need in the style. So here's an example of a style file with 2 variations. Now let's load another style in. Actually no, we'll use this one. I'll announce the sections of the style as we go along. Intro A. Main A. Main B. Ending A. Intro B. Ending B. So, as you can hear from that example style file, you can see why I would not recommend using the emulator to load styles onto this keyboard, because most modern style files now have 4 variations, 3 intros and endings, just like the PSR 740. And PSR 740 was the first one of those keyboards to have 4 variations. The styles you can load on this keyboard are very limited. You can load the PSR 620, PSR 730, PSR 7000, PSR 1700, and the PSR 8000 styles onto this keyboard. That is, you've modified the 8000 styles to have different voices, and you can even and you can even load the PSR 550 styles on there because they have 2 variations. You'd be very, very lucky to find styles that even work with this keyboard, because not many style hosting websites even support those styles no more. A lot of the styles you'll find don't even work on the PSR 8000, so that's why it's not worth using a floppy emulator. Number 3. Floppy disk drives. As far as I know, I've heard you can't get viruses from them as much. I don't know much, but apparently it's much safer than an email attachment. Believe it or not, there are still some people using floppies today. And number 4, there are musicians out there who are still using floppies, especially on synthesizers, and especially really old ones like this one. This keyboard came out back in 1998. And I intend to keep this in the best vintage condition it could possibly be. If I do want to use a USB floppy emulator, I'll just use it with another keyboard like a PSR 740, or any other keyboard that has the 4 variation system in its styles. Don't get me wrong, this is still a good synthesizer, well, keyboard, should I say. And I think it's perfect just the way it is. So, you're wondering, here's a little bonus. How to load a different song from a floppy drive on the PSR 8000. So, assuming your disc is in, you press this button here. You can hear a floppy drive working away. Play the song. And if you want to change it, you can't just click the dial that changes songs. See, it's still on the same song. What you want to do is go to the panel of the keyboard, and you're looking for Song Select. Press that, and now you can go select songs from your floppy disk. Actually, I think I got that wrong. I think I've done it wrong here. I've turned it the other way. Well, there you go. We've changed the song that's on the that we want to listen to. So even though you can't store modern files like MP3 files on a floppy disk, you can still use it for storing MIDIs on, and you can have plenty of MIDIs. You just need to make sure you buy plenty of floppy disks if you want a big MIDI archive. And lastly, modifying this keyboard in any way would exclude it from any warranties. It says so in the manual. So my long-term future is to collect plenty of floppies. Even the floppies that Yamaha originally released with XG MIDI on them and original styles. I know that there are some styles. There's a floppy disk that comes with this keyboard which has some styles on them. But if you want me to show those styles, I'll have to show them on the PSR E463. Unless I can get hold of a really old computer that has a floppy disk drive. You're probably wondering, why would you want to use that computer, Jordan, when NVDA won't work? Well, Windows XP can still run on PCs that have floppy disks. And I could always use Narrator. The only thing I'd use that computer for is for data transfers. So there you go, that's how you load songs from a floppy disk. Pretty neat, that. And if you listen carefully, you can hear the disk drive. It's very quiet, but you can still hear it. Let me try and bring the camera up to it. I might be holding it wrong, actually. There you go, you can see the disc. The drive. Let me try and get it up and running again.
Tilt right.
My main goal with this keyboard is to go on stage with it at some point. And these are all my other old ones here. But we're going off topic. The emulator is good for recording midis, but I'd save that for a keyboard that can actually benefit from the emulator. Because as far as I know,
Tilt right.
a lot of people who have installed the PSR, the floppy drive emulator on their PSR 8000 have been struggling to get it working.
Tilt right.
So for me, I don't think it's worth it. I think this machine is perfect the way it is.
Tilt right.
And if I'm lucky, I can get hold of an older laptop with a floppy drive that runs Windows XP or Windows 2000.
Tilt right.
That this keyboard can benefit
Tilt
from.
left.
Because the manual wouldn't make sense if I was using the USB emulator.
Tilt left.
And I think the software could become unstable as well, so I don't want to damage any software on the actual hardware of the instrument. You probably,
Tilt left.
for those who haven't seen floppy disks
Level.
before, here's what one looks like.
Tilt right.
Good vintage goodness. I love vintage stuff, and these floppies are no exception.
Tilt right.
They're cheap to get hold of these days too.
Tilt left.
I should have turned off voiceover, but if I ask Siri to do it,
Tilt left.
it's gonna ruin my video. Should have done this on my iPhone 6, but never mind, I don't have enough storage on that phone anyway.
Tilt left.
Anyway, that was my video on floppy disks. Actually, I'm going to keep the PSR 8000 switched on. Why am I saying 2000? I haven't even got a 2000.
Tilt left.
Wouldn't mind a 2000, because that also has a floppy disk drive. Plus it has mega voices as well.
Tilt left.
Anyway, that was my video on floppy disks and why I don't think the
Tilt
PSR
left.
8000 would benefit from the emulator. This is Jordan, signing off, saying have a good day everyone.
Stop recording video.